Move on to the heavyweight division. Our first bout for you tonight features Reggie Strickland in action against Todd Foster. Strickland, an incredible character, 224 documented fights to date. Todd Foster, of course, a former USA Olympian back in Seoul in 1988.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout features 8 rounds of boxing in the junior middleweight division. When the bell rings, referee Jerry Armstrong will be in charge of the action. Introducing first in the red corner, wearing the purple trunks with the gray trim. He weighs in 151 pounds. His professional record, 38 wins and only 4 losses. 33 of those wins by way of knockouts. From Missoula, Montana, Todd "Kid" Foster. Across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with the silver trim, weighing in 162 pounds. His professional record, 43 wins, 40 losses, 4 of those wins by way of knockout. From Covington, Kentucky, Reginald Strickland.
So there you go then. Well, you saw the record on the screen. My records are completely different. 224 fights for Strickland, as far as I'm concerned. 43 wins, 170 losses, 11 draws, and 4 knockouts to his credit. So that's the truth about Strickland. Been a pro since 1987. Foster turned pro in 1989. And he's fought them all, as Reggie Strickland. The Seamus Casey of American boxing. This one is scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds. And Foster has gone up through the weights over the years. He's only 30, he's only a year older than Strickland, but you think with all those fights under his belt, Strickland would have been about 45. Been doing most of his fighting in Tennessee and Kentucky and Oklahoma. And is reputed to have fought several times on one night in different towns, sporting a different name. In fact, he goes under 3 official names: Reggie Raglan, Reggie Buse, and Reggie Strickland, and that's just the 3 we know of. So Todd Foster then, former USA Olympian in those tatty sky blue trunks. Had 1 title shot so far, Todd Foster. And of course his base days are behind him now. That was a 5th round stoppage by Hector Camacho for the IBC crown, and that happened in 1996. And Foster, a former state champion, beat Tommy Hanks for the state title. Made 1 defense against Davey Montana. In fact, the same year, 1991, he fought Dwayne Swift and Mauricio Aceves. In fact, he's fought 3 world champions. Foster beaten one of them. Strickland, though, a known survivor. He's fought Buck Smith, goodness knows how many times, and goodness knows how many times under assumed names. Allegedly. Well, body shot there from Foster. And believe it or not, this is already Strickland's 9th fight of 1998, and we're only in March. So good aggressive start this by Foster, the kind you would have expected. And Strickland doing what he does best, he's trying to stay out of trouble here. Not many people put Strickland away. Fought Malin Galloway as well, Reggie Strickland. Went the distance with him. Galloway, of course, a former WBO champion. Fought Harold Brazier a few times. Raul Marquez. Marquez, not surprisingly, fast starter, got in and beat Strickland in the first round. Doesn't happen very often, though. So last 15 seconds of round 1. of the scheduled 8, and Foster has boxed pretty well. He looks an awful lot more than 30, doesn't he? Good record though, 38 wins, 40 defeats, 33 knockouts. And that's the end of a good first round there for Todd Foster. I did say that Strickland was the Seamus Casey of American boxing. Casey, in fact, due to fight on Glyn Rhodes' first professional show as a promoter at the, I think the Grosvenor Hotel in Sheffield next Tuesday, against Matt Mowat, who's coming back after 6 years. Good luck with the show, Glyn. So we go then for round 2. Strickland in the black trunks, as cagey as he could have been in the first. And of course the problem with Strickland is if he gets hit and gets hurt and stopped, it's going to affect his livelihood. That's why he boxes so often. He's either very poor or very rich. I don't know what tank town wages are these days. Not an awful lot, I wouldn't have thought. Well, Strickland there, as you saw, taking quite a few of these punches on his arms and gloves. Oh, that one's put him over. Right hand to the head there from Foster. Strickland hit the deck. So Strickland over in round 2. So Foster there, concentrating on the left hook, then suddenly Strickland caught unawares when a right came through. Well, Strickland probably thinking, hey, hang on a second, has Foster read the script? Foster taking this one pretty seriously. Good work again there from Todd Foster. Strickland now steeling himself to these hard blows. Ooh, that could have been dangerous. Past halfway in the second round. It's getting a bit rough now for Reggie. It's the kind of man who has over 25 fights a year. And that's a bad year for him. And without trying to sound rude, Todd Foster looking like something of an old booth fighter. All the old booth fighters out there watching this are probably saying, "No, mate, we were much tougher than the Todd Foster of this world." But he does, you know, he's got that gnarled old look about him. Oh, well, once again, they're right there catching Strickland. Be a 10-8 round this for Todd Foster. Don't forget he scored that knockdown earlier, right to the head. And that's a good session for Todd Foster. Watch this again. Will this be the knockdown? Nope. This might be. Long left hook there by Strickland. Left hook, left hook, left hook. And then, oh, well. So round 3. So Foster always chasing. Strickland did actually come out of his shell on 2 occasions in round 2. One uppercut and one left hook. He's not a banger though, 4 knockouts to his credit in 43 wins. Once again, Foster taking this one very seriously. Probably trying to achieve what so many fighters have failed to, and that's to put Strickland away. Well, Jerry Armstrong taking time out here to have a word with Strickland for some odd reason. Some of these referees just don't like it when fighters tend to defend themselves. Of course, that's the name of the game. It's the noble art of self-defense, and that should not be forgotten. Well, Strickland under relenting pressure here now from Foster. And he's taking body punches that are hurting him. And then Foster very sensibly switching to the head. He's got Strickland dropping those hands already. Oh, and suddenly Reggie throws that wild uppercut again. Once again, good shots there by Foster. Comes from Missoula in Missouri. And Strickland comes from Covington in Kentucky. And I bet he wishes he was back there at the moment. Bit of a load up there by Strickland. Once again, Foster slams in a right. Well, once again, a big round then for Todd Foster. So a bit of all damage there for Reg Strickland. And here we are for round 4. And really, Strickland is the ultimate opponent. He's really the last man you'd want on your show. But there's a very good chance that Foster was matched with somebody else who couldn't make it, and Strickland, of course, very happy to oblige at late notice. In fact, let me just tell you a few of the things he's done in 1998. 15 days there was between his first 2 fights of the year. Then a week after his second fight, he was on again. He was on again a week after that, 2 days after that. 12 days after that, 6 days after that, 2 days after that. So, you know, he's the kind of man who likes to stay very active. Of course, that doesn't happen in Britain anymore. You can't fight a couple of days later unless you've had a very, very quick knockout victory and you don't get hit. I wonder if that rule has changed. I should check. You know, not all of those fights of Strickland have been 8-rounders. Some of them have, 2 or 3 have, but some of them have been 4-round fights. And this is round 4. And it's probably the most demanding 4 rounds that Strickland has had this year. He does also mix in his own class. His last win was 3 fights ago, beat a man called Brent Cooper. And in fact, his first fight of this year ended in a knockout victory for Foster. He won in 3 rounds over one John Gutierrez. But he's not winning too much here. Todd Foster, so far he's won every second of every round. 1 or 2 flashes of ambition from Strickland, but not a great deal to talk about. Once again, Reggie not enjoying the attention to the body. Foster not hitting quite as hard here in this fourth. That's a nice right hook. Well, he is now. Well, it's a nightmare this for Reggie Strickland. Another 10-9 round for Todd Foster. 40-35 now. He's 5 points behind now, Strickland. 5 rounds to go. Todd Foster, he's won everything so far. And poor Reggie Strickland, look at him. He needs... well, he needs an accident really to win this one. Act of God probably won't be enough. And Foster has punished Strickland to the body. He's switched to the head when he's been able to, because Strickland, of course, has kept those gloves high and tight most of the time. One knockdown in round 2 scored by Foster. Just occasionally, Strickland does that. He throws an odd speculative punch. With a big prayer attached. Oh, well, there you are. A left uppercut from Strickland. Free shot almost. And he's quite pleased with himself for getting that one home. But not a great deal of power behind it. As I say, he's only won 4 fights by knockout in 43 wins. He's drawn 11 times and lost an incredible 170 times. So he's pretty used to it. I said he's the Seamus Casey of American boxing. Not really true, because Seamus, you know, he has a sense of endeavour and ambition. Strickland, at least on this occasion against Foster, is not showing a great deal of that. Survival's first thing on his mind. And of course, we've got Des Gargano, another wily old campaigner. Not sure if Des is still boxing. He covers a great deal more ground than Strickland. And this is no more than a sparring session really for Foster. In fact, I'm sure he's been hit far more times in the gym. And he really is taking this one rather casually on occasion. He has been punching quite hard, I've thought, to Strickland's body and the head on occasion. But most of the time, it's just been a rhythm fight, just getting those punches off and looking nice. Bit of a comeback then from Strickland right at the end of that round. So here we are, touch of replay. Foster takes a left hook. Best punch so far that Strickland has thrown. Certainly the best punch he's landed. And there's a 6-point gap now, 3 rounds to go. So Reggie Strickland looking for a hammer. He started getting a bit cocky, didn't he, right at the end of round 5. Letting the punches, flying combinations. So he has got some ability. Of course, Foster from cowboy country up on the Canadian border, Missoula, Montana. Been there. course, Strickland from the state responsible for Muhammad Ali from Kentucky. That's, I think, where the similarity ends, though. It looks like Foster might just have settled for a points victory here. He's not punching quite as hard as he was. There's never really been a time in this fight when it's been what you describe as competitive. It's been very, very one-way traffic. You know, there's been the odd flash from Strickland, but as anticipated, nothing sustained. To say that Strickland is something of a punch bag is almost an insult to punch bags. You can almost hear them crying out, "We don't get hit half as much as Strickland does." But he's taking some stick here, but full marks to him. You know, he's taken it by and large very well. You know, very experienced campaigner. Oops, and that's a little stumble there from Reggie. Once again, something of a barrage right on the belt, but by no means anything near enough to win the round. So another round for Foster. 7 points the gap now, 2 rounds to go. So, penultimate round. And the big question now is, will Foster go looking for a knockout, or will he settle for what looks like a landslide points victory? My money's on the latter. And make no mistake, Foster has tried to get rid of Strickland, no doubt about that. Oh, steady, Reggie. So flashes of talent then from Strickland. If you're wondering why doesn't he keep it up, because it looks like he can do it on occasion. Well, I don't think he really wants to expose himself really to Foster. And that's what will happen if he starts letting those punches leave his chin. They'll be replaced by Foster's gloves. And he's probably already got a fight booked in a couple of days' time. Good attack there from Foster. But once again, Strickland proving equal. Oh, yes, that was a bit borderline, wasn't it? But you can see how Foster's groin protectors ridden up underneath his trunks. Of course, the imaginary line of the belt goes through the belly button, so quite often you see shorts and protectors pulled up very high. And although the punch lands on them, it's not strictly legal. occasionally Strickland will switch to southpaw. It's so subtle, he doesn't even know he's doing it. Once again, a flap there from Reggie. You know, he's the kind of man, he's learnt his trade. He's started boxing to earn money and survive and probably have a bit of fun. And doesn't stand around too long flat on his feet to throw big, powerful punches. Eight points the gap then. This man, Foster, is winning. So here we go then for the 8th and final round. All the sadists out there rubbing their hands with glee. I suppose the masochists must be enjoying it as well, because they're the Stricklands of this world. Yes, this is a very good exhibition of sadomasochism, without a doubt. But it's been strangely compelling as well. Oops, once again, Reggie takes a wobble. Right at the head there. And now Foster looking for that elusive knockout. And he's hurting Strickland now with his good punches. It's a gutsy fighter, Strickland. And, you know, one question I'll pose: if Foster was on the end of this, was on the receiving end, as Strickland has been, would he still be there, I wonder? What a lot of fighters. Of course, Foster confident about taking Strickland's punches. There's no power behind them. And Todd Foster's got a facial, it's a bit like Andy Holligan on it, you know, if you catch him in the right light. Right, Andy Holligan in 5 years then. This has been incessant pressure from Foster. Last minute. And you've got to ask the question, what is Strickland made of? You know, he really has been incredibly resilient. Strickland lost his debut, by the way, back in 1987. Won his second fight and then lost his third. And then the rot set in. He didn't win again for about 7 or 8 fights. And it's been that way ever since, really. The odd win here and there, punctuated by 7, 8, 9, 10 losses. Last few seconds then of this 8th and final round. An overwhelming victory, surely, for Todd Foster. Well, every round, undoubtedly. Round 2 by the 2-point margin for a score of 80-71. But a gutsy effort there, undoubtedly, from Reggie Strickland.
All 3 judges scored the fight 80-72. The winner by unanimous decision, Todd "Kid" Foster.
Well, they didn't score the knockdown round, the 2-pointer, as I did. They gave every round to Todd Foster, unsurprisingly. And, well, you know, Foster's got no future, of course, as a fighter these days. His best days are behind him. But, you know, quite clear that Strickland could go on and have another 20 or 30 or even 40 or 50 fights. That's to come. Billy Tompkins against Carlos Monroe in the heavyweight division. We hope you'll stay with us.